Because Raymond is not your friend. He's the reason you're in here. What do you...
Hello, welcome back. So, that was successful. On the Blacklist Season 9 Episode 22, there was a possibility that all of Red's secrets might be revealed because Marvin knew them all. The fact that everyone was striving toward contradictory goals was not helpful. Harold was in desperate need of Marvin to exonerate him.
Accept Cynthia. It's unacceptable. He is mine to deal with.
Raymond was concerned that Marvin would let his business empire slip away. Marvin had the ambition to prevail in the competition. Marvin controlled the situation for the majority of the season, which kept both Reddington and the task force on their toes. On the other hand, once Red discovered on the Blacklist Season 9 Episode 21 that Marvin was the mastermind behind Elizabeth's murder in Harold's frame, it was game over for him.
I should have shot you the day you came back.
Why didn't you?
Why do you think?
But Marvin's delusions were just too strong for him to comprehend that truth just yet. He would never rise to the position of boss as long as Red remained alive and kicking. On this episode, he was reminded of that fact multiple times, beginning right away. I mean, take a look at how quickly he was taken into prison.
Hello, Marvin.
Wrestler was able to mislead to coming out of hiding and arrest him after Aram was successful in identifying the plane that he intended to flee on in order to evade capture. After that point, things began to take an unusual turn. Red was fuming about the fact that Marvin was in the hands of the task force. He was aware that Marvin could use what he knew about Raymond's business to negotiate his own freedom, despite the fact that Marvin had committed numerous felonies as Reddington's attorney and, more recently, as his adversary.
To the same intel and can be a far more reliable partner to the Justice Department Reddington ever was.
Both Harold and Panabaker understood the significance of the Blacklist task force's work. But Washington is a town of committees, and those committees are full of people who only worry about the details. They are more concerned with appearances and photo opportunities than they are with the long-term good. That being said, Marvin was in a pretty good position to bargain.
My offer is simple. He's out, I'm in. I get his deal, and
on the other hand, the fact that he was able to mock Harold and insist to Panabaker that he be given his own task force to replace Red and the existing task force was not a particularly positive development. That was not going to happen. After Harold successfully hauled in the major prize, which was Marvin, the charges against him were withdrawn, which was some good news.
Parent, it makes me sick, knowing that you're gonna get what you want.
The unfavorable piece of information was that Marvin, by betraying Raymond, would be able to avoid punishment for his role in the planning and execution of Liz's murder, among other things. That was not something that Reddington was going to allow under any circumstances. Therefore, Cooper found himself in the difficult position of having to dissuade Red from taking the life of the guy who was responsible for the death of Agnes's mother. As a direct consequence of this, he had a lot of mixed feelings.
Are an underling. I'm not even talking to you right now. I'm talking.
Raymond was a true expert at deception, therefore he was one step ahead of everyone else at all times. As a result of his encounter with a security officer at Marvin's prison, Harold was able to stop Red from breaking into the facility. But that was all a deception because no one observed Reddington cashing in a favor with a judge at the courthouse where Marvin was to be arraigned before he accepted the offer of a plea agreement from the government. Marvin was scheduled to be charged with a crime.
Gentlemen, sorry for the delay. Thanks for your patience.
No problem, Your Honor.
Marvin made productive use of his time behind bars by developing a relationship with the Chinese assassin Wujing, who was looking for an experienced attorney. Wujing, who was serving a life sentence at the time, had a security guard on standby to assist him in evading capture. But in order for that to take place, he required a lawyer who could devise a reason for him to be brought to the courthouse while he was still in custody. Marvin fit the profile of the lawyer perfectly.
It worked for him. He thought that too.
Marvin, who was acting puffed up after striking a plea deal that would let him skate, required a reminder of his position in the hierarchy of the criminal justice system. And Red was the one to hand it on to him. Marvin had to learn the hard way not to mess with Raymond, just like everyone who came before him, including Mr. Kaplan and even Liz herself.
You know where you're going to be before you even do.
You were saying, Marvin.
Therefore, as a result of the judge who owed Reddington a favor calling away Marvin's judge, Marvin found himself face to face with Red inside a judge's chamber inside of a courthouse. That is referred to as reaching. At that point, Raymond helped Marvin see through his delusions of grandeur. Marvin had been given a significant amount of responsibility by Red, and as a result, Marvin might be excused for believing that he was Reddington's partner in crime. However, Red made it quite apparent to him that he was merely an underling.
You can't best me, and God knows you could never replace me.
Raymond also made it quite clear that Marvin would not live long enough to be able to take advantage of the newfound independence that he believed he had bargained for himself. It should have come as no surprise when Marvin broke out of prison and shot himself in the head. That was much better than spending the rest of his life always looking over his shoulder. At least he was able to exercise control over his exit. However, Marvin was also responsible for putting the Blacklist Season 10 into motion.
To ask, Wujing. I didn't have to ask, because Raymond is not your friend.
He disclosed to Wujing on the Blacklist Season 1 Episode 3 that Red was the one who was ultimately responsible for his apprehension. In addition to that, he provided him with a list of the other individuals whom Raymond had planned to hide in order to assist in the search. Therefore, you should brace yourself for a significant amount of recycling in the following season, which may very well be the last one of the series.
We're not going home. Not until I find and kill Raymond Reddington.
The sequence at the conclusion, in which the task force is finally seen bidding their goodbyes to Elizabeth while exchanging their favorite memories of her, was quite moving. The conversation that Dem had with Liz was the most in-depth of all of the others, since he traveled further back in time with her than any of the others. It was encouraging to see that both Park, who had been reinstated, and Aram were making time for themselves to focus on their mental health.
And, this part, won't be any easier.
It will be interesting to watch if either Weech or Ramirez return with Red when they have finished their journey home. Because of Marvin, he will require as much assistance as he can get his hands on. This last season served as a successful transition. The viewers were able to reminisce about Liz at her most endearing, without having to witness her behave irrationally once more. What are your thoughts on the manner in which the Marvin plot was resolved? How would you characterize this year of transition? Have plans for the upcoming season been solidified? Leave a comment with your thoughts in the section provided below. Please show your appreciation for the video by giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel so that you don't miss any future breakdowns. I appreciate you watching, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.
We're not going home. Not until I find and kill Raymond Reddington.